I was held captive for 3 years in a soundproof basement. My kidnapper called me blank canvas. Finally, after 3 years, he let me go. I thought I was free, until I found the USB drive in my hospital papers with my voice on it. Part 2. He always wore a mask when he came down, a plain white medical mask at first, then more elaborate ones as time went on. Sometimes animals. Sometimes cartoon characters. The Mickey Mouse one was the worst. He'd wear it on days he decided I needed to be disciplined. I won't describe what that entailed. I can't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. It was painful. Horrific. That cheerful mouse face watching as he told me I was his masterpiece, a true blank canvas. That humans should be grateful for lives that are full of endless opportunities. Once, he didn't feed me for 2 weeks. Just water. By the end, I was hallucinating, seeing shadows dance on the walls. When he finally came down with a plate of cold spaghetti, I wept with gratitude. I kissed his feet. I would have done anything. I did do anything. The strangest part was how routine it all became. The terror never fully subsided, but it evolved into something duller, more manageable. Sometimes he'd bring me books. Dog-eared paperbacks with coffee stains and torn covers. Sometimes he'd sit in a folding chair and make me read to him, correcting my pronunciation instantly when I stumbled over words. Sometimes he'd leave a small radio that only picked up static and religious broadcasts. The preacher's voices became as familiar as my own thoughts. When winter came, I could tell from the bone-deep chill that seeped through the concrete. He'd bring down a space heater sometimes, but only if I'd been good. I learned to stop shivering in his presence because it annoyed him. I learned to regulate my body temperature through sheer will. I learned things about survival that no human should know. I stopped asking why. I stopped begging to be released. I stopped speaking altogether around the 2-year mark. What was the point? The silence became my armor. He hated it. He'd scream at me, shake me, try anything to make me talk. But I'd retreated so far inside myself by then that my body was just an empty shell. Sometimes I would watch him from somewhere above, like I was floating near the ceiling, observing this broken girl with matted hair and skin stretched tight over protruding bones. The worst times were when he was kind. When he'd bring me a warm blanket. When he'd clean the infected cuts on my legs with surprising gentleness. When he'd read to me as I drifted off to sleep. Those moments confused me, made me question everything. Stockholm Syndrome, the hospital psychologist called it later. I call it hell.